Hello, Googleization Nation, and welcome to The Whole You Work, Home, Life, a GGG Unleashed podcast with thought leader Joe Serio. I'm Ira Wolfe.
And I'm Jason Cochran. In each of Joe's episodes, he's going to be raw and real with you on what it takes to be the whole you at work, home, and life in order to thrive today and in the future. Let's begin.
This is Joe Serio, and this is The Whole You, Work, Home, Life. Today we're going to talk about the first of 3 superpowers. And if you can master this, heck, you don't even have to master it. Just get better. If you can get better at this one thing, I guarantee you it will change your life. Superpower number 1 is clarity. And around clarity, I ask 3 questions. And around clarity, I ask 4 questions of my audiences, and I discuss them in my books. And here they are. Question number 1, who am I? That may seem obvious. It also may seem huge, like it's too big of a question to ask. But let's think about it like this. Under that question are things like values, core beliefs, vision. Do you have a vision for your life that's based upon your beliefs and underscored by your values? I'll tell you a sad thing. Most people never think about it. They never think about it in the level of detail that we need in order to be able to go get what we want. Who am I? Do I know myself? Do I believe in heaven and hell? Do I have a relationship with God or Jesus? What is my spiritual connection? What is it I think about this fleeting life? What is it I want for myself and my family? Based on what kind of values? So that first question is, who am I? We can sit down and think about it and write out answers. Question number 2, what do I want? Another question that most people don't ask. The fact of the matter is, most people kind of stumble into their lives. I've seen tens of thousands of people in my speaking career, and often I will ask the question, how did you get into the job that you're in now? Many people needed a summer job, or they got a college internship. Or like me, I twisted my finger in the air, closed my eyes, and slammed my finger on the page of the course catalog when I was a sophomore in college. That class was Who Are the Soviets? And that one class determined everything that's happened for the rest of my life. But guess what? I had no intention of studying Russian. I had no intention of living in the former Soviet Union for almost 10 years. I had no intention of writing books about the Russian mafia. I also stumbled into my life. But the thing I really wanted to do was to teach. I wanted to teach. I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to write books. Fortunately, I always knew that. I wasn't always brave enough to do it, but I always knew it from the time I was 13, 14 years old. So I had this side trip through Russia and China and around the world. And by the time I came out at 40, 45 years old, I had the stories, I had the experience, and I had the nerve to finally do what I was thinking about at 13, 14 years old. Unfortunately, most people never get to that point. They have the detours and never make their way back to what it is they want because they never defined it. Question number 1, who am I? Question number 2, what do I want? Question number 3, how am I going to get it? How am I going to get it? Do I have a plan? Do I have a vision and a goal with a roadmap? Maybe not highly specific roadmap, but one at least that gets me moving in the right direction. Do I have a roadmap to get the thing that I want? Question number 4, how am I lying to myself? The silly story that I use for this one has to do with me and weight gain and my addiction. I love ice cream. So if I go into the store and go to the ice cream aisle, my brain will tell me I'm going into the aisle just to make sure they stocked enough of the good ice cream. That's lie number 1. I get to the freezer and I see that the door is slightly frosted over. So I open it up and I check for my favorite flavors and I see them. They have Rocky Road, they have cookies and cream, they have pistachio almond, what do you think the chances are that at that moment I'm able to walk away from the ice cream? Look, people who get what they want, people who are productive, people who do well at work and at home are not different than you. They also have as little willpower as you do. It's not about willpower. It's about decision making. I know that if I get to that ice cream door, I will pick out all 3 pints of ice cream. And I know I will go home and I will eat all of them in one sitting. And then I'm going to feel terrible. So there's only one solution. There's only one thing I can do is never go down the ice cream aisle. Are you happy with the outcomes you're getting in your life? So often you find yourself victim, quote unquote, victim to your own thoughts. Let me break something to you. The biggest problem you have in your life is you. The biggest problem I have in my life is me. And in that context, the biggest problems we have is self-sabotage. Because if we've defined who I am and what I want, we start putting together a roadmap on how to get where we want to go. If we don't have a roadmap, it's so easy to stray into corners and take turns in wrong directions and do things that we know are not good for us. For example, just think about this. Do you stay in the lazy boy, fall asleep, wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe with an empty pint of ice cream on your stomach? You stumble into your bedroom, get 4 or 5 lousy hours of sleep, and then you get up and try to go to work. You're exhausted. You're annoyed at yourself for having fallen asleep in the lazy boy once again. You could be late, can't find your keys. Now you're racing to work. A cop pulls you over for speeding, or there's construction on the road that you didn't know about. That's going to amp you up even more. And now you get to work all primed to make lousy decisions. Are you self-sabotaging? Who am I? What do I want? How am I going to get it? How am I lying to myself? The key in this exercise is to answer them as specifically as possible. My blood pressure is never higher than 120/80. You know why? It's not allowed to be. It's not allowed to be because I defined that line, defined that metric, and said, there's my goal. Well, in my case, it's not a goal, it's a ceiling, which means there's certain kinds of foods I can't eat. I can't be arguing with people all the time. I can't be stressed out all the time. Why? It's going to impact my blood pressure. So I have to do things for myself in my life, at work and at home, to ensure that my blood pressure doesn't go higher than 120/80. I'm very, very clear. Most people will walk around and say, I want to lose weight. I want to have money. I want to be happy. Well, guess what? Your brain has no idea what to make of that. There's nothing to latch onto. So when I started losing weight, I said, between January 1st and February 15th, I'm going to lose 15 pounds, and here's how I'm going to do it. And I made a plan. And in that 6 weeks, I lost 17 pounds. And in my life, I've dropped 45 pounds, and it wasn't too difficult. So the results of people who come to my programs often is weight loss, or they clean their garage for the first time in 10 years, or they change their relationship with their spouse, or they go to work with a different mindset. I've had many, many people who convinced themselves that they could not get a promotion, that they would not do well on the interview for the next level up. And then we took them through the kinds of things we're going to go through in this podcast: how to reframe your fear, how to improve your emotional intelligence, to shift your mindset to get more of what you want. And you know what? Everybody in my academies that wanted to get a promotion got it, because we walked through the process. And that process begins with clarity. Why do you want that promotion? Are you doing it for the right reasons? How do you think it will change your life? Are you prepared to take the responsibilities of moving to that next level? So one day in a program that I was running, I threw down a challenge. The supervisors in the room were given a challenge. And the challenge was, if you became a supervisor for the wrong reasons, if you became a supervisor for the pay bump, how long did the excitement of the pay bump last? 1 pay period, 2, How long do the problems of being a supervisor last? Forever. And I gave them the challenge to demote themselves if they became a supervisor for the wrong reasons. They had to get clear. Why were they doing what they were doing at work? What is it they really wanted? Were they contributing to the organization in the most effective and productive way by being a supervisor? And a number of them wrote to me weeks later and said, you know what? I listened to what you had to say. And I thought about whether I became a supervisor for the right reasons. And I gave myself a demotion. I think of that as a very courageous act because they're probably opening themselves up to possible criticism or being made fun of in the workplace, that they couldn't hack the stress and the pressures at that level. But you know what? My hat's off to them because they had the nerve to clarify what they wanted, to clarify who they were, to clarify how to get it, and they took action. Clarity is the number one superpower. So my challenge for you is sit back and define, who am I? What do I want? How am I going to get it? How am I lying to myself? And answer those questions as specifically as possible. And please do it on paper because you can think about things, but writing it down changes your relationship to the ideas. In the workplace, we want to clarify our purpose, clarify our strategy, clarify our responsibilities. What is the purpose of this organization? Is it actually pursuing that purpose? Especially if you're a small business owner. What is it I profess to be doing? Am I really doing that? Is my audience and my market actually the audience and market that I think it is? And am I marketing to them effectively and efficiently? Or do I declare one market and I'm actually speaking to a different market? I see this happen in business all the time. And then clarify responsibilities. In the workplace, too often, people don't know exactly what's expected of them, exactly what their job function is. So as we wind down this episode, think about clarity. If you can get clear about major aspects of your life at work and at home, it will change how you look at the world. It will change what you say yes and no to. It will change your time management. It will change your productivity. It will change the outcomes that you're getting in your life. Next time on The Whole You, Work, Home, Life, we'll talk about superpower number 2. And until that time, be well. This is Joe Serio. Take care.
That's it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and digging deep into what's ahead for your future as the whole you. We'll be back next month with Joe for another episode. But until then, please visit his website for additional information at joeserio.com. And remember, don't let the shift hit your plans.